Have you ever wondered about the person next to you in a coffee shop? That quiet old man might carry secrets beyond imagination. Glenn Patterson. Two young men loomed over him, soldiers by build, arrogance dripping from every move. One cutler sneered at a faded tattoo on Glenn's arm, a serpent eating its tail with a star inside. What's that? Some biker gang? Wheelchair warriors? The diner went silent. Sarah, the waitress, froze mid-pour. Glenn only sipped his coffee. Just a reminder from years past. Cutler mocked him louder. What were you? Kitchen duty in Saigon? He pressed, calling Glenn a fraud, accusing him of stolen valor. His partner Reyes urged him to stop. But Cutler wouldn't. He tapped the tattoo in that instant. Glenn's mind ripped back to a jungle in 1968. Blood, helicopter blades. 5 men had marked themselves with crude ink, a bond never recorded, never meant for history. The serpent was their endless war, the star, their brotherhood. Back in the diner, Sarah's anger boiled. Glenn was more than a customer, he was family. She slipped to the office, calling her cousin Stacy, an assistant at JSOC headquarters. They're harassing an old man. His name's Glenn Patterson. Tattoo of a serpent and star. That silence. Then Stacy's shaken voice. Keep them there. Don't let them leave. She hung up. At JSOC HQ, Stacy broke protocol, interrupting General Marcus Thorne mid-classified briefing. She whispered, Sir, Glenn Patterson is being harassed at a diner. They mocked his tattoo, serpent and star. The color drained from Thorne's face. He rose, voice like stone. Get my security detail now. Engines roared outside the diner minutes later. 3 black Suburbans slid into formation. Men in crisp dress uniforms poured out, forming a perimeter. Cutler and Reyes froze. They knew those vehicles. The door opened. General Marcus Thorne entered, 4 stars blazing on his collar. He ignored everyone. Eyes locked on Glenn. Cutler still gripped Glenn's arm until the general's glare burned through him. The young man yanked his hand away. Then the unthinkable. Thorne snapped a rigid attention and saluted. Perfect. Silent. Reverent. Glenn, he said softly. It's been too long. Glenn smiled faintly. Marcus, you got old. The general turned on Cutler and Reyes. Cold fury filled his voice. You questioned this man's tattoo? Slowly, he rolled up his sleeve. On his forearm was the same mark, serpent and star. The diner gasped. This is Glenn Patterson, Thorne said. Before SEAL Team 6, before Delta Force, there was Project Omega. Men sent into the dark, their missions erased. Glenn was one of them. In 1968, deep in Laos, our team was hunted for 3 weeks. He carried me, then a young lieutenant in his back, for 2 days to reach extraction. Of the 5 men who wore this mark, only to still live. You are looking at them. The truth crushed the room. The quiet man at the booth was a living legend. Thorne's gaze cut into his operators. You forgot what it means to be a quiet professional. Everything you have, tactics, gear, training, was built by men like him. And you dared disrespect him. His verdict was final. My office, 0500. Bring your credentials. Their careers ended. Glenn stood slowly. His voice was steady, almost gentle. The tattoo doesn't make the man. The man gives it meaning. Rank, gear, those fade. Character is all you own. Don't lose it. He looked at Thorne. Buy me a coffee, Marcus. It's been a while. The general laid a steadying hand on his old brother in arms. And in Glenn's mind bloomed the memory of 1968, carving that same tattoo into young. Thorne's arm with a bamboo needle. A promise. A vow never to quit. The diner incident spread through the special operations world like wildfire. General Thorne didn't just punish Cutler and Reyes, he used it as a lesson. A generation had forgotten its roots. Within a month, he created a mandatory training course, Legacy. Every candidate would learn the history of their profession. It's not from manuals, but from the men who wrote those manuals in blood. Veterans of Vietnam, Grenada, Panama quiet warriors like Glenn Patterson were flown in to speak. Cutler and Reyes weren't kicked out. Thorne thought that was too easy. Instead, they were reassigned as permanent staff for the legacy program. For 3 years, their duty was to serve those same veterans, coordinating travel, setting up classrooms, listening to stories day after day. Humiliating at first, it slowly became redemption, about a year later. Glenn was in a hardware store looking for bolts for his old lawnmower. A voice cleared softly behind him. It was Cutler, leaner now, humbled. "Mr. Patterson, I don't know if you remember me." "I remember," Glenn said quietly. Cutler swallowed hard. "What I did was unforgivable. I was arrogant. I was wrong. I'm sorry. No excuses. Just honesty." Glenn studied him, then extended his hand. Cutler gripped it, surprised by the old man's strength. "We all have things to learn, son," Glenn said. "The important thing is that you keep learning." Then he turned back to the bolts, as if the conversation was finished. That was Glenn Patterson, no speeches, no need for recognition. Just a man who carried unimaginable weight with grace, and so the program lived on. Young operators learned their craft not just from instructors, but from men like Glenardero, Blennerera-looking elders who had once carried the impossible. The quiet heroes walk among us every day. They drink coffee in diners, browse hardware aisles, and ask about their waitresses' grandchildren. They carry their history in silence, and sometimes it takes a single moment, a mark on an old arm, a salute in a diner for the world to remember that true greatness rarely announces itself. It just endures.